are metaphysical lessons in the Academy of Self series by Gordon Gardner. The title of this particular lesson is The Yin and the Yang are the complementary attributes of the androgyny, which is the consciousness of holism. Inasmuch as harmony is staying clear of extremes, there are no antagonistic opposites in the consciousness of holism. The real cosmos, and not the illusion caused into effect by the belief in the nonsensical doctrine of dualism, is an uninterrupted condition of cosmic order. The dynamic, holistic yin-yang energies are the complementary attributes of the androgyny, which is the consciousness of holism. Cosmic life energy, as the sacred feminine principle of infinite love, is a yin attribute that is represented by nature. Cosmic consciousness, as the divine masculine principle of eternal truth, is a yang attribute that is represented by spirit. Only when the love of nature is penetrated by the truth of spirit can the wisdom of cosmic reason be conceived within the universal mind. Cosmic reason is the pure logos of the natural spiritual androgyny within the consciousness of holism, completely sundered from the false doctrine of dualism with its antagonistic opposites. The sacred divine interconnectedness between the yin-yang energies of nature and spirit within the universality of the androgynous mind are in a perpetual energy-reason-consciousness interaction, with one implying the other in a reciprocation of magnanimous qualities. The yin never remains yin, nor does the yang ever remain yang, as the still dark silence of spirit ceaselessly becomes the movement light sound of nature throughout the neutrality of the universal mind. The following Taoist text expresses the perpetual motion of this beautiful fashion. Quote, "The stillness in stillness is not the real stillness. Only when there is stillness in movement can the spiritual rhythm appear which pervades heaven and earth." Unquote. Paraphrased, it would mean the perfect repose of spirit is not perfect until it becomes the perfect motion of nature, which cannot remain perfect unless it again seeks repose. Perfection, therefore, is not a static moral condition of martyred sainthood. It is the repose in motion between the divine spirituality of truth and the sacred sensuality of love. It is the dance of Shakti and Shiva dancing to the music of the spheres, so that the imprisoned splendor of cosmic souls can dance the only dance there is. The dark night of the soul ends with the beginning of the dance, and then there is only the dance, which never ends. So on with the dance and let joy be unconfined. To realize that the natural spiritual rhythm which pervades heaven and earth is to recognize the parallelism of repose in motion, freedom from the confusion of conflicting interests between spirit and nature, as it is propagated by the dogmatism of the Church and the imperiousness of science, requires the recognition of parallelism rather than the dualism. There is a mutual adaptation between the yin-yang energies in view of the ultimate reality that nature and spirit have the same tendencies towards the consciousness of holism within the universality of mind. A past master who understood the consciousness of holism spoke of its complementary yin-yang attributes thus: when you make the two one, and when you make the inner as the outer, and the outer as the inner, and the above as below, and when you make the male and the female into a single one, so that the male will not be male and the female not the female, then shall you enter the kingdom. The blind faith, vapid hope, and loveless charity of the Church, and the unseeing credence, dull expectations, and doubtful improvements of science have enforced the nonsensical doctrine of dualism. Dualism is a plague of deceptive, impeding, misbegotten sensationalism, and an emotional intellectual epidemic which infuses the mass mind sphere making it a servile quagmire of false doctrines. The despotic clericalism of the church and the technocratic empiricism of the scientists have mystified and deceived the state since their inception as pseudo-authorities. The result is a church-state science totalitarianism which dictates its autocratic authoritarianism to the easily gulled masses. The gullibility of the masses, however, is due to their guilefulness, and therefore the victims are as guilty as the victimizers. They individually and at least superficially accept the doctrines of the church, the dictates of the state, and the dogmas of the scientist. Yet among the more intelligent of the condition-conformed collective, there has to be a repressed doubt as the integrity of these doctrines, dictates, and dogmas. In view of the fact that they do not listen to these doubts and act in accordance with their promptings, two more arbitrary experts come to the foreground of their unmanageable lives, which are the medical and the psychiatric experts. The agonizing result is not listening to and acting upon their innate integrity is that a dictatorial, authoritarian totalitarianism in the form of church, state, science, medical, psychiatric, Big Five brotherhood is allowed to do their thinking for them. If any of the repressed intelligent persons are inclined to be permanently free of these and other experts, they must simply, and of course individually, leave by the exit marked integrity, always remembering that harmony is staying clear of extremes. Integral persons must not play the life-defeating games that the masses of restricted personalities indulge themselves with. These life-defeating games result in the degenerating awareness of the ordinary personalities, the credulous awareness of the gullible personalities, the reduced awareness of the witless personalities, the subcognitive awareness of the moronic personalities, and the debilitated awareness of the imbecilic personalities. This is to say nothing about the increasing numbers of hopeless idiots who are subhuman homo retentives, who can no longer do the simplest tasks to maintain a semblance of their lost humanity. Yet, if after death the brains of many of the above types were examined closely, that is, if the butcher, surgeons, and drug-happy shrinks haven't tampered, they would not be distinguishable from Einstein's or the brain of any other genius. It is the human endocrine system of the glands that regulate the type of personality and which make the individual ordinary or extraordinary. Both physical and psychical development demands that the endocrine system, as the 7 major endocrine glands in the physical body, must function in congruence with the parallel vital centers of the etheric body. The etheric body both surrounds and permeates the physical body with its refined gossamer-like substance, which the physical eyes cannot see even with the mechanical devices invented by science. The etheric body, which all living entities possess, is constituted with a type of matter which is indestructible, inasmuch as it is the 5th element or quintessence from which all other elements issue. It is the vital and essential noumenal plenum which assures a phenomenal plenitude. The 4 elements of earth, water, fire, air would not exist without this 5th element, this quintessence. It was known as the ether by the knowledgeable alchemists of ancient times, but the modern chemists denied its existence because they couldn't see it, and yet no one has ever seen electricity, but no one would be foolish enough to deny its availability and power. The yin phenomena of nature and the yang noumenon of spirit unite the visible to the invisible within the consciousness of holism throughout the universality of mind. A perpetual noumenal phenomenal interaction preserves an uninterrupted interconnectedness which holds the nature, mind, spirit, interpenetration of complementary yin-yang attributes, whereby the one implies the other in a perpetual reciprocation of parallel qualities. The living universe is qualitative in its nature, spirit, coexistence, and not quantitative as a twofold division between mind and matter as propagated by church and science and believed by the loyal followers. The ultimate reality of the individual is not the physical body or a material environment, but the etheric body with its ethereal milieu, not because the material is not real, but because it is not permanent. The etheric body of the spiritual man is the permanent identity, or soul, if the reader prefers, and is a supreme and immortal being which has had many physical bodies in which to travel, learn, and evolve. Spiritual evolution would not be possible without physical involution, so the immortal soul is in a perpetual involution, evolution, alternation between the ethereal and the material in order to improve the quality of living a life. A perfect yin-yang equanimity is the aim of each soul, as it seeks embodiment time and time again until it realizes that harmony is staying clear of extremes. This, of course, is managed once the earthbound soul has persevered on how to be in full control of its own feeling thought dynamics. Once the yin-yang balance is established as the consciousness of holism, the permanent identity as an integral person is a free soul, living in a timeless state of fulfilled awareness at liberty in heaven on earth. Know the truth, and the truth shall set ye free requires that the soul substantiates its individuality and establishes its originality as a master of destiny, its own, no one else's. Then only will it be free of the God-devil, good-evil, right-wrong, moral-immoral, past-future, rich-poor, heaven-hell delusion propagated by the church-science duel of duality. It would be much better to realize the truth of being, and the realization shall protect you as an immortal soul and secure your freedom for eternity. The truth of being is not written in so-called holy books. It is the root of knowing at the core of being, your own. It is the gnosis cardius, meaning the knowledge of the heart, and no more, and no one can reveal it to another, for it must be sought by looking within, deep within, into the sanctuary of the soul. The soul is the androgyny, since it is without gender, but when and where it seeks embodiment, it must choose which of the complementary sexes is the most suitable to learn its essential lessons, for it must receive both its compensation and retribution for errors in judgment performed when it was in past embodiments. In other words, the soul must experience its karma, which is the pause for adjustment on its immense journey throughout infinity for eternity. While the soul is in physical embodiment, it is a pilgrim for time and space. But once it has realized the truth of being, it is a supreme being in tune with the infinite and at one with the eternal. This natural spiritual condition of at-one-ment will not transpire until the 7 major endocrine glands are functioning in harmony with the 7 major vital centers, thereby binding the physical body back to the etheric body in order to allow the human sensorium to perform holistically. Integral persons are integral persons simply because they have reestablished this condition of at-one-ment as a brain-mind-cosmos interconnectedness. Mediation from the church, manipulation from the state, and monomania from the scientist, medication from the medical, or modification from the psychiatry, will not put Humpty Dumpty back together again. All that these various shattered endocrine types need in order to escape the out-of-order established order and regain cosmic order is a simple method of meditation. We do not have a board of education, we have an inadequate board of information. And what we need is a board of meditation so that the individual can at last receive or be receptive to a true education. Meditation transcends the mundane information quagmire and puts an end to mortal affectation, once and for all time. It activates the person's intuition, and intuition is the precise tuition of each individual's indwelling spirit patron, meaning genius. Intuition is a faculty of the heart, which is in juxtaposition with the thymus gland, covering the upper portion of the heart. The thymus gland's greater function, while working in harmony with the other 6 endocrine glands, is to govern the immunization processes. All 7 glands operating in unison have a specific secretion which uphold the body's health in harmony with the etheric body through the vital centers. The most powerful nutrient is activated through this vital center into the heart from the etheric body, and that nutrient is the yin energy or essence of love, which coexists with the yang energy or essence of truth, which is intuitively received through the governing principles of the 7 vital centers directing the 7 major endocrine glands. Man, know thyself, and physician, heal thyself are 2 long-time ignored injunctions which, if acted upon, would make these statements obvious to any intelligent person. All that is required for knowing and healing is soul logic, which is the supraliminal awareness of transpersonal psychology. This means that sincere persons must get above the egocentric emotions, get beyond the self-centered intellect, until they are in a supraeminent position surpassing the restricted personality. Then and then only will they be able to hear the inaudible voice of their natural spiritual integrity coming from the soul. Even the word heart has got an ear in it, but the inner ear is in the etheric heart, which is the pivot center which keeps the integral person integral. Whole persons are a body-mind-spirit integration bound fast to the nature-mind-spirit of the cosmos, each a cosmic individuation who prevails over their environment, produces their reality, and preserves their supreme being as unrestricted individualities within the consciousness of holism, while maintaining a position of being, consciousness, equanimity. The cosmic precept for man, know thyself, requires that the individual persons look within with the understanding that the word man, mind, psyche, soul are 4 symbols which have almost the same significance depending upon the intended context. In the sense meant here, these 4 symbols are interchangeable, so when man is used it doesn't suggest male of the species, but refers to the mind, psyche, or soul, which is androgynous. By way of determination and concentrated effort in meditation, which is what it means to look within, the precept could be rephrased in this manner. Soul, know thy man, or mind, know thy source. Because although there is no separation, the soul is the source of the man, and since they are all interrelated, it could be said mind is the source of the man. Regardless of how it is phrased or what metaphor is used, the point to remember is that man is an integral cosmic individuation who is a triad of energy, reason, consciousness, which is the sacred trinity that is emanating from, radiating in, and vibrating as a soul-actualized human being. The soul is the permanent identity of the spiritual man, whose constitution is an organized etheric substance with a tangible consistency that, although refined, is visible to the psychic or single eye of the clairvoyant person. The soul, as the spiritual man, is also the universal man, and the governing principal intelligence power which emanates from, radiates in, and vibrates as the incarnating body-mind-spirit of any and all human beings. The cosmic precept for man, know thyself, has nothing whatsoever to do with the mundane superficialities of sophisticated man, nor the mortal affectations of the restricted personalities who believe in their gross materiality and apparent mortality. The truth is, however, that death is only an out-of-body experience and is not fatal to the soul or the permanent identity. It is no more serious than shedding a bag of skin, similar to a snake which has grown out of its skin and just moves on, leaving it behind. The energy, reason, consciousness of the real person is never born, nor can it die, any more than energy can be created or destroyed. The real person, the permanent identity, the immortal being, the veritable and verifiable man, mind, psyche, soul, regardless of the nomenclature, is without doubt imperishable and therefore incorruptible. The vitality, sensitivity, and rationality of the real person is steadfastly renewing and transforming the body, mind, spirit of the incarnating soul. The physical body does not have a soul, but the soul has a physical body. In fact, it has had many physical bodies and may continue to reincarnate until the truth that frees is realized, and then the wheel of birth and death stops revolving. From the moment of this enlightenment experience, the soul becomes a spiraling awareness, perpetually changing, constantly transcending, as it journeys into the ever-altering states of energy, reason, consciousness, moving in and out of embodiment as it pleases. As it materializes one body, it will simply dematerialize the one it has grown out of. And in actuality, this continuous forming of new bodies as a transmutation of the energy, reason, consciousness is the logos made manifest. The matter which constitutes these bodies is not the gross matter of the many bodies that were used, wasted, abused, and desecrated prior to the enlightenment experience, which freed the soul, psyche, mind, man, or whatever metaphor is relevant. All of the explanatory words are actually metaphoric in the sense that the word is not the event, the thing, or the experience that is being interpreted. The word water, spoken over and over, will not quench a person's thirst, any more than the word God, repeated ad infinitum, can quench a soul's quest for truth. In both these instances, and with all other explanatory words, the person must have an inwardly known and keenly felt connection with the actuality before the physical or spiritual thirst can be quenched. It must be understood that when a person is speaking about an experience, he or she is not sharing the experience, but are speaking metaphorically about the experience. The persons who are listening or reading cannot have the experience through their ears or their eyes. All they achieve is an accumulation of more information. Well-informed persons are quite often lacking in experience, while they drown in their information quagmire, which is a more pertinent description of an intelligence quota. Having had a spiritual awakening as a result of their enlightenment experience, integral persons, however, listen to the will and act with the power of the pure logos, which actuates their body, addresses their mind, and amplifies their spirit. The soul, psyche, mind, man, ultimate reality, actualization, is forevermore a cosmic individuation which is a living point of awareness at the center of the Absolute, the Supreme, the Christ, the Androgyny, the Infinite, the Eternal, the Godhead, or whatever metaphor is preferred to describe the consciousness of the cosmos. So be it.